Hi, so what we're going to be doing is working on lesson 1B.1. So we're on the second part of the unit, and this is lesson 1. Now, what we already did over the summer is we practiced multiplying by a binomial. Now, what's a binomial? Binomial means that it has two parts. So this has two terms, and this has two terms. So that makes those two binomials. We multiply those together, we use the distributive property. So we're going to distribute the x first. I'm going to multiply x times x, and I get x squared. And I multiply x times -4, and I get -4x. I multiply 3 times x, and I get a positive 3x. And I multiply 3 times -4, and I get a -12. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is combine like terms. So I'm going to add these two together. Okay, so I just multiplied a binomial, or a set of binomials, I should have said, and my answer is a trinomial. Why tri? Because it has 3 parts. 1, 2, 3 parts. Okay, so what we're going to do now, this is what we practiced over the summer. We're going to factor that. So that means we want to take this expression and put it back into that form. All right, so first we want to think about what did we do? So one of the things we did to get this number right here is that we multiplied the 3 and the 4. All right, so I'm looking to factor this thing and have it look like that when I'm all done. So imagine this doesn't exist anymore. Let's cover that up. So it doesn't exist anymore. We say to ourselves, how did we get this 12? I'm going to peek up there, and like I said, what we did was we multiplied the 3 and the 4 together. So we're looking for two numbers that when I multiply them together, give me this number. Equals. Okay. Then I asked myself, how did I get these two numbers? Well, I added them together. So I'm looking for two numbers that when I add them together, I get a -1. So I'm looking for two numbers that when I add them together, gives me the number in the middle, -1. All right, so I'm going to cover up so we can't see what we're doing. All right, so I'm going to think of all the numbers that when I multiply them together give me a -12. So I'm going to start with 1 times 12, and 2 times 6, and 3 times 4, and 4. Oh, if I do 4 times 3, it's the same set of numbers. So I'm not going to do 4 times 3. I already have that. So I'm going to stop there. This is negative. So that means one of these two numbers have to be negative. So I know they have to have different signs. All right, so remember, our numbers are either going to be up here 1 and 12, 2 and 6, or 3 and 4. And remember, these two numbers, when I add them together, have to equal -1. Okay, so that means I'm going to look at these numbers and see which ones are negative or 1 apart. So these are 11 apart. These are 4 apart. Oh, these are 1 apart. So I'm probably using these. If I come up here and I put in a 3 and a 4, I still have to figure out which one of them is going to be positive and which is going to be negative. And I come up here and I put a 3 and a 4. Well, which is going to be positive and which is going to be negative? For my answer to be negative, this must be negative. That 4 has to be. 3 plus -4 is -1. So then we'll make that the negative. So I come over here and I'm going to fill that in. 3, positive, -4. And I just factored this and ended up with that. Okay, we're going to do the same thing for another value. So what if we start off with, how about, all right, so let's factor this trinomial. So same thing that we did last time. We're going to focus on the 16. We say I need two numbers that when I multiply them together, give me 16. And when I add them together, they give me 10. So let's start with make a little table here. and all the factors of 16. So 1 and 16, and 2 and 8, and 4 and 4, and I think that's it. Okay, they're positive numbers. Everything's positive. Now I'm looking for two numbers when I add them together, add up to 10. So if I add those, that doesn't work. Oh, this works. All right, so I'm going to try that. 2 and 8. That works. And 2 plus 8. That works. So those must be my factors. Parentheses, parentheses. We're over here. We're doing x plus 2. Does it matter which one I write first? No. There you go. So we just factored the trinomial. Okay, so let's try one with bigger numbers, something a little more challenging to deal with. We're looking at the last number there. We want two numbers that multiply together and give me a 63. And when I add them together, they give me a negative 16. Okay, so I'm going to make a table down here. Well, I don't think 1 and 63 are going to work. Does 2 divide into 63 evenly? Nope. How about 3? Does 3 divide into 63? It does. So 3 goes into 6, 2, and 3 goes into 3, 1. Okay, does 4 go into 63 evenly? No. How about 5? No. 6? How about 7? 7 goes into 63 9 times. Okay, then if I go up to 8, 9, so I'm looking for something that when I add them together now, add up to negative 16. When I multiply them, it's a positive 63. So what that tells me is that the signs have to be the same. So these two numbers have to have the same sign. They have to be either both negative or both positive. I'm thinking they're both going to be negative, though, because when I add them together, I get a negative answer. So let's see. I'm looking for something that when I add two numbers together, I get a 16. Well, it's obviously not going to happen here. If I add these two together, I'm not going to get a 16. 7 and 9. So if I come up here and I put a 7 here and a 9, well, that's true. 7 times 9 is 63. 7 and 9 do not equal negative, but if I put a negative here and a negative here, well, negative 7 plus negative 9 is negative 16. So I just found my two factors. We get x minus 7 and x minus 9. Okay, so you're going to practice doing that. Ask questions in class. I'll see you tomorrow.